In 2018, the Community Gardens of Boone County decided to add a rain garden as one of their educational projects in their community garden network. The site they selected is located near the production garden behind the Lebanon Church of Christ on Indianapolis Avenue in Lebanon, Indiana. A planning team, led by Trish McCormick, designed the garden, developed a maintenance plan, and did most of the site preparation work. The garden was installed on August 22, 2018, as part of a two-day Purdue Extension Rainscaping Education Program workshop. Since that time, 10 Boone County Master Gardeners have formed a Boone County Rainscaping Education team and have developed educational materials and delivered programs in Boone County. They have also worked hard maintaining the rain garden. 2 years after installation, the rain garden is doing well. Let's hear from 3 Boone County Master Gardeners who have been involved with this project.
Hello, I'm Barbara Burkhart.
And I'm Lydia McNamara.
And I'm Lana Lytle, and we're all Boone County Master Gardeners.
All right, we are at the rain garden that is located behind the Lebanon Church of Christ on Indianapolis Avenue in Lebanon. And this particular field before 2018 was an agricultural field that was growing corn and soybeans. And also at this particular time, there was a lot of road construction going on Indianapolis Avenue, and it was becoming increasingly difficult to get farm equipment into this 2-acre field. At the same time, a lot of churches and community organizations were realizing there was a lot of food insecurity in Boone County, and they banded together to create the Boone County Community Gardens with the idea of creating production gardens that could grow fresh produce that would be given to the Caring Center, Shalom House, various food banks, and any nonprofit organization that feeds the hungry. In the process of doing this, we discovered that this particular field had a lot of wet areas, and there was runoff that was going into the houses in the distance, and it was carrying the nutrients and excess water into their yards, and it was eventually ending up in the storm sewers. So we were losing a lot of nutrients on this particular field. So we decided that we were going to create a rain garden on here to try to capture some of this water, slow down some of the runoff, and also improve the soil in this area so we could do some more production growing here. In 2018, this particular garden was planted by the Boone County Master Gardeners who took the Purdue Extension Rainscaping class. And as part of the class, we actually planted this garden. This garden is 20 feet by 24 feet, and has in here, the bowl shape was actually done by hand to create the trough that we need to capture this. There is in this garden here 20 native grasses and flowers, and most of these flowers came from leftovers or extras from the pollinator garden at the Boone County Fairgrounds, and some plants were bought from Ecologic Nursery in Bloomington. To kind of give you an idea, the idea behind this was to be an area that we could actually capture water, create a good environment for pollinators, and that's what we've done here. This garden here is only 2 years old, and you can see how lush it really is. Okay, as far as the rain garden goes, we knew that the water was coming in here, so we started off with putting some rocks in this area to kind of create a barrier that would kind of just slow this water down a little bit. And then we had, in this particular area, we had some deep bottom type plants that could take this. And some of the flowers that we have here, we're right now kind of in the summer bloom on this thing. So one of the first flowers that were actually hitting this water is this swamp rose mallow, and it's a type of hibiscus. And what's really neat about this, it's a very, very large flower, as you can see, and it is actually pollinated by hummingbirds and large beetles. So they come into this, and you have this pink petal, but then you have the really deep red center that tracks them inside there. And what they do is they pick up the pollen as they're looking for nectar, and then they're carrying it to the next plant. This plant is also a good one for putting in an area where it's very wet because it has a very, very deep taproot, and it also puts out very, very strong side roots. So we have really good anchorage in this particular plant. Another plant that's found in the bottom portion of this particular rain garden is fox sedge. And these sedges are plants that love wet. They can just stay in water. They have a triangular shaped leaf, and they always talk about sedges having edges. If you run your fingers over, it feels very, very rough, almost like it could almost cut you. And this particular guy has a diffuse root system that sort of spreads out. It doesn't have any attractive flowers because it's wind pollinated, and we can see on here that we have some seed pods that are actually developing on this, and this will drop and we'll get some more clumps on this. This particular plant we have is marsh milkweed, and it's one of the plants that monarch butterflies will actually lay eggs on, and the caterpillars will feed on this. The other day we were in here, we did have a caterpillar on this actually eating away, but I don't see him right now. But what's really unusual about this particular type of flower is the petals on this actually go downward, they don't go upward. And it is pollinated by insects. And the insects grow across the top of this particular plant. And what you see happening is there's a slit in this little area that almost looks like a crown, and his leg gets caught in the slit, and he picks up a little package of pollen. And then as he goes on to the next flower, hopefully he'll hit the slit in the next one, and he deposits the pollen package. Now this doesn't sound like a very efficient way to transmit pollen, but what happens here is this plant will produce a few seed pods, but within the seed pods, because it's very specific as far as the pollination, we'll have a lot of seeds in here that will then be transferred by the wind. This guy also has a very strong taproot, which will then and also set out some side roots. So it's a good anchorage, and plus the fact it can take water.
In this garden, they've planted many different colors of plants, different sizes, different bloom times, so that there's always something in bloom here. This is an excellent pollinator. It's mountain mint, and it is covered with pollinators. And it's got a real beautiful bloom on it. Over here, we have the hairy beard's tongue. It is now done with its blooming, but we've left it because that has seed pods that will go to the ground, and you can see that it's getting fuller already, so next year they'll be bigger. And we have cone flowers, different kinds back here. And we have blue star liatris here, and it's got a gorgeous purple bloom on it. And we have different kinds of cone flowers here, and this one is really cool because it has a ball that sticks up, not like a regular cone flower. And we have Joe Pye weed, different kinds of Joe Pye weed here, the pink, that's really pretty in the late summer. And back in the back, we have an obedient plant, smaller, you can't see it. It spreads and has gorgeous pink or white blooms on it, and it will attract the pollinators as well. And you can add whatever you want to a garden. As you can see what we've got. We've got a pollinator house here, and you can put anything in here you want. You can put herbs, flowers.
I'm going to talk a little bit about maintenance and future plants and goals that we have for this garden. The maintenance for the last 2 years has been fairly simple. Weeding has been the biggest thing, and of course we're in a field, and so we do mow around here. And then we've added some mulch in the spring to help maintain that 3-inch mulch barrier that we want in there to help keep the weeds down. And so it really hasn't been, you know, that big of a problem to do that. We've had a few holes here and there where we've lost some plants, and we may put some plugs in later on to get those going. Because if you have bare spots, we have some people that don't play very nice, or as they play too well. Black-eyed Susans like to spread their wings. The obedient plant isn't always obedient and will spread. And so those are two concerns we're just going to watch. But as you can see, the garden's doing its job. We've had a lot of rain lately, and there's no water laying around like there used to be. Kind of mosquito trap back here, and so it's helped to eliminate that. And so it looks very good, and controlling some of the runoff towards the houses and to the city sewer system, which is one of our goals too. So as far as future plans that we have for this garden, we're looking to find some grants and just different opportunities to bring some money in. We would like to put labels on all the plants so people can know what plant they're looking at. We'd also like to have an educational sign that explains about rain gardens and their importance and how they function. And then we have a production garden not far from us, and so we would like to create a path from that production garden to the rain garden, so when people come in from the community to garden or to harvest, whatever, they'll see this path. It'll be welcoming. Come check out the rain garden, which leads us to the next grant we're looking at through solid waste management in Boone County, and we're collecting bottle caps. And we want to create a bench, and we want to put a bench out here so people in the community can come and watch the pollinators, look at the hummingbirds, bees, whatever, read a book, just enjoy the space and the beauty of this garden. So we hope you've enjoyed our tour of this garden, and we hope you consider putting a rain garden in your yard or your community.